Tapestry, for being so young, is a storied and divisive game. While the critical response was overall fairly positive, there was some legitimate criticism that had to do with its balance, and some fair, though a little bit more subjective criticism of it being underdeveloped and overproduced. For my part, I enjoy the game. I like the polish and presentation, I dig the core mechanics, and while I recognize the balance issues as a real thing, they didn't impede me from having fun. And it helps that the balance was patched via errata. So now that we've addressed the anachronistic elephant in the room, we can get on to Tapestry's plans and ploys. You know, the PP expansion. As far as I'm concerned, the best things that Tapestry has going for it is the huge amount of variety and interaction in things, and also it has a pretty great solo mode, and this expansion recognizes and leans into those elements. It hardly adds anything new while fleshing out all the elements in the original. More civs, more tapestries, more dope-ass buildings, one of which looks suspiciously like Magneto. A couple cosmetic upgrades in the form of tokens and a bag, more solo opponent civs, and 5 Automa scenarios. The one new major mechanical element that's in the expansion are these cards that correspond to the new buildings that are drafted by each player at the beginning of the game. Fill out its condition and boom, you got yourself a new building in your capital. What it really does is gives you a nice secondary focus on top of your civ for a direction to lean early game. It's simple, it's effective, I really like it, but I guess we should talk about the other stuff in here. On the mechanical side of things, the biggest content updates are the civs and the tapestries. The civs themselves are on the whole more complex and as a product more interesting. You have tricky things like assigning yourself bonuses based on landmarks you've received, incentivizing covering normally impassable spots in your capital, or getting bonuses and expanding your territory based on the geography surrounding you. Probably my favorite of the new civs is the advisors, who hand out unsolicited advice. Your opponents go to draw a tapestry card? Nope, you give them one of the many from your hand instead. On the whole, these are on par with the most dynamic and interesting of the original factions, feeling powerful and versatile, encouraging certain styles of play. And the tapestries are cool too, again increasing your agency and encouraging certain types of play for the era they're in effect, though some are downright incredible like engineering, making your new tech enter play already upgraded, granting you the immediate bonus. Probably the most dramatic update is several new trap style cards that can be played in response to conquering, but have alternate effects, from running away to capitalizing on defeat to flat out trapping a trap. I'm a big fan, though more and more tapestries and their usefulness feel like the driving factor for much of your success in the game, making a civ like the aforementioned advisors feel really powerful, or despicable if you're on the receiving end of garbage cards. As for the cosmetics, we get little tokens to mark whether a landmark has been claimed or not. I guess I can see this from an accessibility point of view, but Tapestry is already kind of a chore to set up. We quickly decided to leave these in the box. Also, we got ourselves a dope burlap sack to put our tiles in, which is nice, especially if you are already inclined to use bags for just this purpose. Lastly, the back of the book has a list of patched updates for existing factions for balance. Look, this is nice to have, but if one of the major accusations of the original game is related to this issue, maybe, I don't know, print up some stickers or some new cards or something, that would have been nice, but I guess this is still better than nothing. The last aspect of this expansion that I haven't touched on is solo, which is still really good, and the new Automa civs are more interesting because they introduce new challenges, like the hucksters who collect tokens and cards that count as additional landmarks for their scoring. But when you take an action that gives you one of these cards or tokens or whatever, you can take it from them instead of the normal draw pile. As for the Automa scenarios, they are cool and add new challenges to how you play, though keep in mind that while I do like Tapestry as a solo game, it's one I already often have to refer back to the manual. This adds a new layer of scenario-specific rules and stuff to remove from your game. But the new challenges are inventive, such as the first one, which makes you identify a favorite track that you get to to jumpstart on, but your ability to progress on the other tracks is gated and only goes up if you progress on your favorite. So new challenges, but new overhead too. And that kind of represents this whole box. I mean, by design, this is a more stuff expansion, and nothing in here is going to change how you feel about Tapestry overall. Like I said earlier, I enjoy the game, and the variety is a big part of that, so I'm more inclined to like this expansion, but I'm sure that the trickiness and versatility of the new civs and tapestries will undoubtedly invite more questions about their balance in relation to the originals and each other. That said, nothing about them felt too overpowered, and the games that we've played since integrating them and incorporating the balance changes to the originals have been relatively close. My biggest criticism is that nothing about this really feels essential. Tapestry already has so much variety just rammed right in there, and it's not really wanting more. And the things that this expansion does add doesn't really address any of the issues people had with the base game. By introducing this, you are introducing more variables that can call into question the balance, more stuff to manage, more stuff to remove during solo play, and more stuff to put away, which you won't even be able to consolidate to one box unless you ditch the inserts or allow your new buildings to get mushed into a hole, which is exactly what I've done. So if you dislike the game or you're kind of ambivalent on it, you could take it or leave it, or maybe you have it on your shelf, but you only break it out occasionally, then I don't really think Plans and Ploys is worth it for you. But if you're like me and you really do like the game and you love seeing all the different potentials of the civs and the interaction of all the different variables in the game in spite of its faults, or maybe you really love the quite good solo mode that was developed for Tapestry, then Plans and Ploys, like the original itself, has enough good stuff in there that it's worth diving into. And that's our review. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.